Hello and welcome to Three Questions With. Got my friend Ariela with us from Sound Your Best. Good afternoon, Ariela. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Kevin. Hi, everyone. Thank you.
To jump in, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Absolutely. So I'm a speech coach, which I know isn't a profession that you hear about every day. So I'll
Yep.
just explain what that is.
Yep.
So I have background and training in clinical speech language pathology, so working with people who have speech disorders. But I was really interested in finding ways to help people improve their speaking abilities in a variety of contexts, whether they even if they don't have some kind of diagnosis. So I actually only work with people who have healthy voices, but want to change something about the way they communicate.
So give me an example of that. Why would someone be looking to change the way they speak?
Sure. So it's almost always because there's some gap between the way people want to be perceived and the way their audience is hearing them. So audience could be people you work with. It could be dating. It could be going to networking events. People feel like they aren't being received the way they want to come off. It's very frustrating and sometimes hard to figure out what it is exactly. So I use my clinical training to really help people assess like what it is that's causing that gap between how they want to be heard and seen and heard and how people are reacting to them, and what we can do to help align who they are with how they speak. So an example that of the kind of clients I work with, or I have a number of clients who are non-native speakers of English who find that when they're speaking, people are so focused on their accent that they're not hearing the content of what they're saying. Or maybe if they have an accent that's difficult for Americans to understand, or maybe people in the Northeast to understand, they're always asked to repeat themselves, and it's just really frustrating throughout the day. So we'll work on not getting rid of their accent, but finding ways to make sure that they're speaking clearly so they're not asked to repeat themselves, and so that people really hear what they have to say and not just how they're saying it.
So in my life, Ariela, I was able to be promoted throughout the bank. I started as an entry-level accountant, became CFO, and my speech had to change. When I'm talking to my coworkers and entry-level people, what's up, sister? How you doing? And when I was speaking to the board, that wasn't really acceptable anymore. You couldn't use slangy expressions. So I learned I had to make some adjustments, and sometimes I didn't do well because I would get nervous because I would joke, I'm trying to sound smart. And I'm stumbling over my words and like, this guy can't even put together a sentence. You can help people with that type of transition too.
Definitely. I've helped people who've transitioned into management and leadership roles where they need to adjust the way they're communicating. And it's not just how someone's speaking in terms of volume or the rate of their speech, which are the things that usually come to mind for us, or even the choice of words. It's just the way people are sort of carrying themselves in the room. I'll work with people on body language, little things like even just how you're sitting in a chair at a meeting when you go from one role to another can have a big impact on how people are seeing you in that context. And I also have been working with, interestingly, I've had two clients recently who are getting closer to their retirement, but still plan to be working for another 5 or so years and want to stay up to date and relevant in their companies, and also want to be sure that they're not saying things that are offensive, that they just don't know are offensive, and have absolutely no intention of not being inclusive or discriminating at all. So it's been I really enjoy working with people on kind of adjusting style in those situations.
Now, how about people who may be transitioning? Maybe want to change their voice. Can you help people going through the transition?
Yes, so that's actually one of my specialties. So I work with people who, no matter where they are on the gender spectrum, however, again, going back to that idea of people not perceiving them in alignment with what their gender identity is. I work with people to figure out what about the way they're speaking might be sending people the message that they're a different gender than they identify as. So we work on pitch, intonation, which is the melody of the voice and has more of an impact on gender perception than pitch even does. So just kind of the music of speaking. I work with people on pronunciation. There are even pronunciation differences that are gendered, rate of speech, sometimes volume, and again, gestures, facial expressions sometimes. And I love doing that work. It's really exciting. And I've seen people gain a lot of confidence from it.
I do want to go backwards for a minute because you said something that made me go, Now, about body language. I didn't think of that till you just said it, but I'm like, yeah, 100%. Just how we carry ourselves, when you're in the room with someone and, the way you're sitting, the room you're occupying, I've met people like, their body language is telling me they're not confident in what they're saying, which is making me question what they're saying. They don't have that confidence. You can help people come across like, yes, what I'm saying is true and confident. You should be listening to me.
Absolutely. Yes, I can help people learn how even in a situation where you're really nervous, you can do certain things. There are certain things you can have control over in your body and in how you're sitting or standing that even if you're totally nervous inside will communicate confidence to your audience. I also teach people little tricks of things they can do to kind of help battle their nerves that won't show to anyone else, which can be really helpful in those sorts of situations. And I often joke with some of my female identifying clients that I want to make a book called Lean Back instead of Lean In, because I find that the way people look comfortable in their chairs communicates a lot of confidence and just the sense of, oh yeah, I'm where I'm supposed to be. I belong in this chair. And sometimes just even adjusting the way your weight is distributed in a chair can really change the way people see you. And I'm able to tell people exactly what's going on that they can change. And I find a lot of my clients are often frustrated. They'll say, oh, I know there's been something about my body language that's off, but my friends and family say I'm fine. Say, of course, they're your friends and family. They don't want, they might not have the training to know what it is, or they just might not want to offend you. But here are some things I think would help. So.
Yeah, that is fascinating. So what's the best way for people to reach out to? How can they learn more if they need help in any of these areas?
Thanks. So my website is www.2TOSoundYourBest.com. And I have a free consult link on there. So potential clients or collaborators or just people who are more interested in learning more about what I do can schedule a 15-minute chat on there. And I'm also on LinkedIn and Instagram as Sound Your Best, and happy to communicate with people over a direct message or however's most convenient.
Awesome. Ariela, I appreciate you taking a moment to call the show. And as always, thanks for being my friend.
Thanks, Kevin.